And we're going to start right up here with the NES version of Ghosts and Goblins. This is a grumpy old guy gaming. As you can see, there's our protagonist, Sir Arthur, hanging out with his girlfriend in a cemetery. Nothing weird about a date in a cemetery, right? Then this demon dude comes and takes your girl, so we gotta suit up and go. As you could see, very bland palette. The NES was always a little color limited, especially in the earlier games. I believe this was 1986 this came out. So you'll see very bland coloration here. We'll do a compare and contrast. We'll do this playthrough on the NES version, and then we'll do a quick playthrough of the arcade version just to show you the differences. As you saw there, I got hit and I went back down to my underwear, as you do with armor, I guess. Little plants sort of spitting stuff at us, and you got those crows. I will say the coloration of the crows was really cool, and honestly, for the NES's technical capabilities, you gotta be really impressed with the level of detail they put in here. Second hit takes us down, and we go to our next life. There you see a little scroll through of the overworld map. And, you know, the comment was actually made to me earlier today by a coworker about the random placement of these hard as nails monsters, and I kind of had to remind him he's a younger guy. He didn't honestly realize that, you know, Ghosts and Goblins was originally a coin-op game, an arcade game, and you know, these things were designed to be playable, to be fun, but they were designed to be hard, and they were designed to take your quarters. This 100% of the reason I'm giving for playing so poorly. So before you sound off and let me know I suck, one, I know, and two, go ahead and sound off anyway. I appreciate the comment. Thumbs up, thanks. Uh, I always enjoyed the fact that you turn into that pile of bones right away, right after the ultimate hit. You know, the penultimate one takes you down to the shorts, and then you go straight to a pile of bones. Sir Arthur decomposes at an alarmingly fast rate, as does his armor. It always annoyed me playing the NES version here that those little armor things look like they're going to give you your armor back, and they never do. They're just little bonus points, I guess. You see the timer ticking down in the upper left corner there. Going to make through what we have. We've got a little torch here, and I sort of found out the hard way that you can overspam the torches, and if you have enough of them going and the fire going, it's not going to let you throw another one the opposite direction. So I learned that the hard way, and now I'm one hit away from death. Certainly not a great place for me to be. I don't know whether it was fatigue or what, but I did not do particularly well there. Let's see if I do a little better on the arcade version. And we're back with the arcade version. As you can see, we have ourselves a little high score table here. It's all capped at 10,000. I've got a top score there, a little over 16,000. So, you know, I did decent once. Again, we've got our cemetery scene here. Here the sprites are a bit more expressive, got a bit more color and detail to them, obviously, since we're dealing with a full arcade board. You'll notice a lot crisper gameplay. Again, that's stating the obvious, but one of the things you'll really pick up right away, the difference between the NES and the arcade, and I don't know why this is, the zombies are color inverted. We went from red suits blue hair to red hair blue suits. Little weird. Again, loving the color palette. It's a bit more fleshed out here. You got the ground not looking quite as herky-jerky. Man, those plants are just brutal in the arcade version. Those things are whipping at you 100 miles an hour. Doesn't take me very long at all to fall this first time. Even the map looks just so much nicer. I mean, thank goodness this game was nowhere around young me, or else I could have seen, you know, blowing a ton of quarters in this. As a kid, I probably lost college tuition's worth of quarters to a Galaga cabinet. But this would have been amazing to play. especially liking Halloween as much as I do, liking tales of heraldry and knights and shining armor. This would have been right up my wheelhouse, and still very much is, despite what my gameplay would infer. Being a bit more precise with the torches, again, trying to remember the lesson I learned in the NES version. You see that nice little fire burst effect there, too. The torch, if you hit it on the ground, will leave a little bit of fire there, so you could kind of lead an enemy into it. Here I just say screw the plants and I take the bottom route. Probably what I should have done from the very beginning, and then stupid me decides to climb the ladder. Learned my lesson there, got my pants shot off. Get a bit more of a breather on that demon guy too. He doesn't just fly in the air. Now, the jumps here are like Castlevania precise, and I'm going to point this out because, well, I suck. So that's my last life. That's game over there. Unfortunately, did not do much better. Got a little further on the arcade version. Didn't quite even hit my top score, but a little further along in the level than the NES version. So yeah, that's about all I got for that side by side. Haha! Just when you thought I was done, I come right back with the Master System port of Ghouls and Ghosts. Yeah, it's low-hanging fruit. I'm not gonna lie, this is by far the easiest for me. It's the one I'm most familiar with, and it is kind of the slowest pace, but I just want you to take a look at something real quick here. Because especially in North America here, the Master System never really got its full due. I mean, look at these graphics. Sure, it's loading a little slow, sure there's a little bit of sprite flicker, but this compared to the NES, taking this every day, right? As you could see, one major reason I love Ghouls and Ghosts over Ghosts and Goblins, Arthur could throw things up in the air. He can use up and down directions. You know, he's not stuck with the action figure arms, only going in a limited range because that's all the plastic socket lets you do. Also digging some of these enemies. I mean, the little yellow flowers just shooting out spurts of skulls. The old guillotine gauntlet here. Even your zombies have been changed up. They're just sort of wearing dark blue robes and carrying little reaper scythes. It's just a cool aesthetic overall. Your ravens have been replaced with vultures. The Sega Master System just had an incredible graphical palette. I know sometimes it gets a knock, again, for slow play and sprite flicker, and you could see it there. But it ran really nice looking games. It just struggled to do so, which, you know, product of the times. We get through the first board here, and we're going to the second part. We've got a little bit of rain effect going on in these little tornado demons. Can't tell you how many times I died to these little squirts as a kid. I can, a lot. Also hate those little blue wizard things. Fortunately, they go down to chronic button mashing, which is about the skill level I still have in video games. These little doors will open up and get you to shops and whatnot, and I'm going to take the red armor here. It's going to give me a one-hit power-up, so it's no longer one hit to my underwear. I now have 2 hits, which, I mean, is slightly better as far as armor goes, but 2 hits and then completely disintegrating is still pretty BS for plate mail. Trying to be very careful to be just off center so I could still hit the flowers and not get hit by the skulls themselves. If I remember right, this right-hand path here is the less dangerous route. The other route's a little shorter to the top staircase, but this one I think you only have to deal with one of the puking pigs. I say puking because if you're right under them, they literally vomit at you. Here I come to the side, and it jumps up and it catches me. So you see my little hearts are down to 2 there. If I took another hit off of that flower there, I would have gone down to 1 and gone down to my boxers. Fortunately, once again, just off center. Gonna take that bad boy out. And we're coming up on the boss battle here. Got the chest there, and the door's gonna materialize. And it's the boss battle, and you got this floating head dude here, a little demon. Well, little. He's like 40 times my size. Just gonna use the bit of an invincibility after the damage bump there and take him out. I could have switched to some magic, I'll show it to you here in a brief second. But instead I got the key, get through the door, get the armor back. There you see in the pause menu, you could use magic points, which is that left-hand gauge. Since I have the red armor, I could have used fire or thunder. But yeah, your armor comes back after the level. That's a nice little bonus. Now I gotta deal with these bouncing rocks and rock turtle things. The rock turtles seem to be just throwing peas at me. It's weird, but I don't mind it. Because, again, it's ghouls and ghosts. It's what I grew up with. When I think Halloween, these are the kind of games I think of. I think of these. I don't know how I dodged that there. But I think of these, I think of Castlevania. Just keeping October retro going. All Halloween games all month long on the retro portion of the channel. Got hit again. But the shop's going to give me a life or a magic point back. So I go ahead, get my life back, and yeah, that was a net 0. But hey, we've lived and we've learned, and we've experienced a lot of slowdown thanks to moving sprites. It's actually a little weird how jarring it is in this level. If you try moving, if the monsters try moving, you're at a snail's pace. But if you just stay still, you could throw at full speed. Forgot those little platforms there just broke. I do remember the creepy dragonflies, and there was something weird with games I played as a kid in Antlions, especially on the Sega. Both this game here and Wonder Boy 3: The Dragon's Trap had antlions as prevalent monsters. Kinda neat to see them. And I really like the little scientific detail they did here with the little sand mounds that the antlion larvae sit in. They just basically dig out these steep mounds to the point where the sand's going to slide in, and anything that falls into their pit, it's just going to go into their mouths. They can't escape. So that was a neat little design touch there. At the time, I just thought that was, a challenging enemy. But I could appreciate it a bit more now that I understand some of the science behind it. Coming up on another door, which means another minor boss, and it's this little imp dude, who kinda looks a lot like the Final Fantasy I regular imp. I guess that's why I call him an imp. He's gonna kick my butt a bit here. Gonna do what I can to hit him in the damage bump, but he's moving fast, and he is not as small a target. Get through him, and I get to this little fiery earthquake level where the pits are full of fire, and this vertical shaking. I mean, I can make all the excuses in the world. It was a long day, and my eyes just weren't focusing, but flat out, I was just missing jumps. That was a pretty bad miss right there. And there ain't no coming back from falling into a pit of fire. I'm just lose a life, very much so. Finally, remember I could just shoot these guys because it's an arcade game, and of course you could just shoot the monsters. Take him out, get a little door here. Oh yeah, another weapon and armor shop, forgot about this. My son says I should have taken the green armor there. I personally like matching my accessories, so I went with red helmet. Not that it mattered, because I immediately sort of died. So I go down to 0. This is my final crack at it. And I just sort of shoot myself in the foot there. That said, this was my special bonus run and the capper for the video. Thank you very much for watching. This has been a Grumpy Old Guy Gaming.